Note very well the discussions we have had, Your Excellency, with the former Head of Public Service, Budhaura, and Oginde on leadership, sir. Your Excellency, which brings me to your question. We were challenged as leadership because most of the people here are leaders in your government. And we were challenged that we talk the walk more than we walk the talk. And so my question to you, sir, is, when we are surrounded and reports have come through of wastage of public resources, wastage in public institutions, impunity, and largesse, give us your thought, Your Excellency. How can we set the tone on accountability, but also consequence management in public service?
Thank you very much, Wangoi. And first, let me congratulate the teams that have brought together this conference. I remember we met at the request of the SRC to put together this conference so that we can reflect on the two summits that we had before and how much progress has been made. As has been said here, there has been progress. Came down from 51% wage bill to revenue to 46 now, and we aspire to deal with this challenge in the next 3 years to bring it to 35. And the success of any country, the success of any plan or initiative will stand or fall on leadership. I don't think any one of us need to be persuaded as to whether it is the right thing to do. The questions answered. Is it the correct thing to get our wage bill to 35% as a percentage of revenue? Yes, it's the right thing. Is it doable? Yes, it's doable. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. Right? So it is up to us as leaders to decide whether we want to do this or we want to play to the gallery, we want to talk the walk, as you've said, or we want to walk, or we want to walk the talk. That's the decision we must make. And it boils down to the fact that decisions to be made are not easy. They're not comfortable. They're not popular. And it is the reason why I insist that those of us who are leaders, who have the privilege to be leaders, must understand our calling. We have been elected, all of us seated here, and occupying leadership position, appointed, nominated, employed as leaders. And we have been given responsibility to do the right thing, to make the right decisions, even if they are not popular. And you know, the challenge we've had as a country is that we all know what is right. We have all documented studies, programs, resolutions. But when it's time for the rubber to meet the road, when it is time to implement, it becomes difficult. We have talked about the Abdikadir report. We have talked about the various resolutions of the wage bill before. But we must get to the point where those of us who are privileged to be leaders must be ready to lead, to serve, to make a difference and not necessarily to be popular. We have a choice to make. And if you want people to clap for you all the time, if you want to be a popular guy, you have an option. You can be a comedian. It's also a very well-paying job. And it boils down to some of the, let me give you two examples. You have a whole cabinet minister. We are having a conversation about drug abuse, alcoholism. And you have leaders who are saying, no, you shouldn't be closing bars. You are mistreating people. Really? Okay, because what are we chasing? Popularity. Okay. The other day, we have a doctor's challenge. We can hardly pay because we've said, there are real issues we want to deal with. You have leaders who it is in their place, including governors, saying we support the doctor's strike. Really? If you support the doctor's strike, pay the money they are asking for. So we must stop chasing what is popular. We must go after what is right. And so, we have three issues from where I sit in this matter of the wage bill. Number one, we must deal with the numbers. The current ratio is that we have so many support staff, and the push from the public is everybody wants a job. Mr. President, give us positions for the military, for the police, for this, for that. We must be deliberate about creating alternative pathways to employment. Public service is not a place for employment. We must build alternative, and that is why, deliberately, as a government, we have said we're going to implement programs that will create opportunities for employment. And we are going to be deliberate, we are going to be intentional, and we are going to push hard. Under our housing program, our plan is to create 1 million jobs. We are at 140,000 as I talk to this audience. It is a program that we all agreed on. For example, housing was in the manifesto of Kenya Kwanza, it was in the manifesto of Azimio. When it got to implementation, it was a problem. Why? Because we want to be popular. When do you know what the right thing is? We are going to be intentional and deliberate because it is the way we are going to create jobs and not load on Kenyans under the public service. Number two, we've changed the law. I have signed a new law I've signed the new legislation into law. We're going to create opportunities in the digital space. There are tremendous opportunities in the digital space. That way, we can create alternative pathways and not overload public service. We're going to export our labor. We're going to create jobs in our special economic zones. On Friday next week, I will be in Athi River with American companies who are bringing 20,000 jobs to Kenya, because we've given additional incentives on our special economic zones. It is the direction we must go as a nation. I want to encourage us. We have millions of young people out of school, out of college, out of university. They deserve employment opportunities. We owe it to them as a nation to create opportunities for them. It is not in the public service. The public service cannot accommodate all of them. That's why we must be bold, we must be courageous to push the limits in other areas so that we can get more young people in Kenya in employment. They will contribute to baking a bigger cake, as was said by the chair of SRC. I also see an opportunity for us to enhance our revenue, because if you are talking of wage bill as a percentage of revenue, we must also look at how do we raise the revenue? How do we make sure that counties are looking at own source revenue? How are they collecting more money? How do we digitize Kenya Revenue Authority? I want to confirm to the country that we are well on course. I believe that we can raise an extra 500 billion, if not an extra trillion, just by digitizing the Kenya Revenue Authority and getting money that currently we are not getting. It is possible for us to support our counties to raise more money so that we can have the ratio of wage bill to revenue in the right place. And number three, we must deal firmly, decisively with corruption. We must. There is a lot of wastage. We must. There's wastage, there is pilferage, there is outright theft in the public space, and with a lot of impunity. We can put more resources into development. And I think we have now stabilized what we needed to stabilize. We will now confront the monster of corruption head-on going forward. Whether it is in counties, whether it is in the national government, just imagine a simple audit of people working for government has revealed that we have 2,100 so far people with fake certificates working for government. And just a simple audit. And from this conference, Madam Chair, I hope we are going to add one more resolution on fake certificates. Those who have earned money using fake certificates should refund us our public money. Isn't it equivalent to obtaining by false pretense or something? You know? And those who are in government offices today with fake certificates, they should leave. They should resign and go away and look for money to pay us public resources that they have earned falsely. And that chain continues. That chain continues. Good people, we just must do what we must do. And for your information, I intend to do it. Yes. And I am ready to take the consequences. I'm already Zakayo, so there is no problem. if the country is going to get where we want it to go, I don't mind names. Yeah, I don't mind names. So long as we get the country where it should go. So, I don't know whether I've answered your question, but that is my position. I know we have set a target of 2028, Madam Chair. I think it's doable earlier. I think we can do it earlier. We can at least review it by 1 year, down by 1 year. We can do it by 2027. I think it's doable. Because we are burdening the next generation of Kenyans. And you know, speaking to the matter Moses mentioned, that 1 million of us who are working, we are taking away 1.1 trillion of the 2.2 trillion we collect. So 1 million of us. And you know the irony of this is that when we are asked, those of us who have the privilege to earn from the taxes of Kenyans, when we are asked to contribute 1.5% so that other Kenyans can have a job,